Never doing this today. Even if it comes out good, I'm not doing this. This is too much work, man.
In this video, I'm gonna attempt to cut my own hair. I've never cut my hair before, so let's see how it goes. This is the self-cut system that I'm gonna be using today. It's my first time using it. It's got these mirrors that are adjustable and these lights, and I'm gonna be doing a number 6 on top and a 1 on the sides. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is put my cape on. These are actually custom capes that we had custom made from this company called Illusion. If you guys are interested, there's a link in our description if you wanna get these capes. But I'm gonna put this on first. Ooh, this is already gonna be hard, I can tell. So the first thing I'm gonna do is start with the number 6 on top, and then we'll do the number 1 on the sides, and then we'll fade it from there. So I'm gonna start with my Barbershop clippers, and then I'm gonna put the number 6 on top. So I like the number 6 because it's really short. It's gonna leave it about 3/4 of an inch long, so it's just enough to kind of style, put some product in, and push it over to the side. My hair doesn't grow this way, but right now it's been kind of trained to go from left to right. And so I'm gonna, in order to cut evenly against the grain, I'm gonna make sure that I cut this direction. What I'm trying to do here is when I do the first pass, I'm trying to pick up a little bit of that last section that I cut just to make sure I didn't miss any spots. So what that looks like, say if I start in the front here, I'm gonna not jump to the back here. I'm gonna pick up with the next pass a little bit of that first section just to make sure I didn't miss any. My arm is already getting tired. Keep going. It's shoulders day. That was the easy part. But the reason I started with the top, because when you're fading the sides, and I do this even when I'm cutting other clients, is I try to start with the top, because when you start with the sides and you cut into the top, the length right here changes, and then you have to fade it again in order to change. So if you start with the top, when you blend the sides into the top after that, then there's a lot less work to do right here, because the length on the top isn't changing after you blend the sides in. So now that I've cut the top, most of the length is even. You can go in different directions now to make sure that the top's all even. So I started like this, in this direction, but now you can change the direction up just to make sure that you're catching up any of those hairs that might have been missed on the first couple passes. All right, so now that we did the number 6 on top, I'm gonna start with the 1 on the sides. That's gonna be the first guard that I use. So I'm gonna take the number 6 off, and I'm gonna use the number 1 now. I'm gonna have the lever closed. So this is gonna be the shortest length that I use at the bottom. I'm gonna try to do a low fade, which is when we're training barbers and when I'm cutting somebody who I've never cut before, I always recommend you start with a low fade because you can always raise it from there. So even if you want like a mid or high fade, if you're new to this, I definitely recommend start low because you can always raise it, and you're probably gonna need more room to fade when you're doing this for the first time. So start low and then raise it if you need to. But if you start up here, you're not gonna have a lot of room to fade. So that's what I'm gonna do here. And notice I'm like rocking out the clipper. I'm trying to do this the same way I would cut like a client's hair. So in order to make the job easier for myself, when I get to this point, I'm rocking the clipper out because that's gonna make a softer line, which should make it easier to erase later. So I'm actually using this mirror to look at this mirror, which has the best view of this side of my head. My hair is changing direction right here. Instead of growing straight down, it's going sideways. So that means if I want that hair to be even, then I have to cut it that way. So to make sure the fade's even, I just need to make sure that when I do the left side, that I take it up to the same line as I did on the right side. Otherwise, the fade won't be even if we do that. I kind of suspected this would happen. This has been good so far, but I'm gonna actually use a mirror, handheld mirror, so I can see the full back of my head. I'm gonna take one of these, and I can see behind me. So now both my shoulders can get tired at the same time.
So what I'm trying to do now, which seems to be helping, I'm more going off of feel than using the mirror. And I'm just kind of using the mirror to double check and make sure I'm in a nice spot. First time ever doing this, so see how it goes. So now that number 1 is done, I'm going to switch now to the number 2 guard. Do the same thing. Just keep repeating those steps until you get a nice smooth blend. So that was the 2. And just so you know, there's almost always going to be a line between the 1 open and the 2 closed. And that's where the 1.5 guard comes in. So I just finished with the number 2 guard, which is about 1/4 inch or 6 millimeters. And what's going to get rid of this line right here is the 1.5, because that gets in between the 1 open and the 2 closed. So this is about 3/16 of an inch or 4.5 millimeters. So I'm going to put that on there. You want to be careful, especially with this guard, not to press down too hard because it's pretty loose. As you can hear, it's kind of rattling. These teeth can move. They're pretty flexible. So don't push down too hard. It might give yourself a bald spot or a force distance where the guard pops off. So make sure that that's secure on there as well. The mirrors actually, I think, make it a little harder, for me at least. So one of the things that I do when I'm cutting the client's hair, sometimes you get to a point of a haircut where it's actually kind of hard to see what the clipper's doing, especially if you're in the little detail part where you're just getting dark spots or lines. At that point is when you need to start listening to the clipper. So that's actually what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to listen. I feel like the clipper is cutting something, I lift off. So the next step, I'm going to do a 3, and this is probably the last guard I'm going to use for the sides to tie it in, and then I'm going to probably have to start doing some touch-up work in here. So this 3 should tie in nicely to the 6 on top, and then I'll just go back through and just double-check everything, make sure it's a nice smooth blend. So I want to be careful not to, when I'm cutting the sides, I don't want to go in to the top like this. I'm going to go up just enough to get rid of that line, and then just go straight up like that. If you go in, then you're going to start cutting into this, which is all 6, and we don't want that. So now we kind of tie the sides into the top. I'm just basically do the same steps in reverse. So this is a 3 that I was using, so I'm going to go back to the 2 and work my way down. It's the same exact thing I would do if I was doing this on somebody else. Alright, so now I finished with the 2. Now I'm going to switch back to the 1.5 guard. Still doing the same steps in reverse. It's actually very useful for doing the sides. And it's my favorite for cutting the backs. That's okay. I wouldn't be proud of this if I was doing this on somebody else's hair. But now I'm going to go ahead and just start cleaning up the lines and see how that looks. I'm going to use my trimmers. These are the Andes Slimline trimmers. And I'm going to start with the sideburns in the back. We'll go from there. You know, I wouldn't say this is definitely not something I'm probably going to do again for a long time. But if you absolutely had to cut your own hair, definitely recommend trying an easier haircut like this as opposed to doing like a skin fade. And it would definitely help if somebody else could help you with this part. I did a 1 on the side, right? This is all 1 right here, 1 inside the back. I'm going to just do my best to taper the back down with a 1/2, which is a no guard. and the lever's gonna be all the way open. I'm going down because that's the direction that my hair is going in. Well, if your hair grows up, then you return the clipper around and dip up like that. All right, so I'm almost done. Not really too happy with the way it came out, to be honest, but I'm gonna try to smooth out any of these last bumps that I see here. Maybe get some of these hairs in the front, and then we'll style it up. We should be done. So now I'm gonna get a few of these hairs that are in the front here. I'm gonna use my trimmers and just try to keep the hairline natural and get these hairs out of the way that I don't want to cut, and anything that's below. I'm trying not to do this because that changes your hairline when you're lining up the front here. But just keep your hairline relaxed as much as you can. Don't overstretch your scalp like this because you'll change the line. But just pull these hairs out of the way that you don't want to cut. Keep your forehead relaxed. And anything that's left, you can trim. I'm going to take a little bit of this pomade from the Gips pomade in there and see how it looks. So this is the finished result, guys. I found this to be really difficult, and I have been barbering for a while, but it was free, so if you don't have any other option, this is the result. This is a 6 on top, 1 on the sides. If you absolutely can't make it to the shop, definitely recommend giving this a shot yourself.